Today, two different Fox hosts asked the exact same thing about Donald Trump's idiotic foreign policy. And that question basically boils down to, huh? What? Are you okay? Have you lost your mind? And the answer is a resounding yes. Donald Trump is an idiot. That is exactly why we are seeing such a reckless and out of control foreign policy. It's also crucial to factor in just how bored Donald Trump is with the actual job of being president. Partly because his mind is turning to mush, but also because he is such a weak leader. His influence is fading, and his policies are so disastrous that even Laura Ingraham is now attacking him. This isn't just about a decision he made regarding China. It's about a bizarre phone call that was leaked this morning on Fox, where Donald Trump proves once again just how broken his brain really is. I want to dive into all of this, the weakness of Trump, and how his cognitive decline is making him bored, reckless, and completely out of control in the Oval Office. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. But it all begins with this leaked call, before we even get to Laura Ingraham turning on her dear leader.
Just before the Oval Office event, he kind of surprised me a little bit because he said, "John, I just want to tell you, I'm very serious about this. So you can talk about this. I'm serious about beginning a process to make Venezuela the 51st state." Now, there's a rich history in this nation of taking territories and absorbing them into the United States. You know, Puerto Rico is one that people talk about. But this would be the first time, to my knowledge, that a sovereign country was ever invited to join the United States of America. How would that work?
Are we really back to this 51st state talk? Is this seriously what we are doing now? And again, I think this is a perfect insight, as all of Trump's distractions usually are, into what is actually happening behind the scenes in the world. Why on earth is Donald Trump talking about Venezuela becoming the 51st state? First of all, it's a total impossibility. But secondly, wouldn't that absolutely infuriate the MAGA base? Hasn't Donald Trump spent years complaining about people fleeing oppression in Venezuela? Hasn't he made Venezuelan refugees coming to the United States a massive sticking point for his followers? The logic here makes zero sense. But why is Donald Trump actually bringing this up? It's because the Strait of Hormuz is not going to be reopened, right? Donald Trump is rambling about all the barrels of oil he's going to get because he knows he can't reopen that strait, and he knows that failure is going to trigger a massive recession, if not a total global depression. And so, Donald Trump, and this point is so critical, who has zero interest in actual practical problem solving, just pivots to some imaginary solution that does not and will not ever exist. And that is exactly what he did recently with China, which, as we are about to see, has even Laura Ingraham attacking him. Trump on verge of error of world historic proportion against AIDS advice. Always one looking to make a splashy deal, Donald Trump is giving serious consideration to allowing China to make a massive investment in the US, against the advice of some of his closest advisors, an expert warned on Friday. In a column for the New York Times, a conservative economist reported that the president may be on the verge of tying the United States to China irrevocably. Mr. Trump and Xi Jinping are reportedly considering a deal to allow China to invest $1 trillion in the United States, largely to build factories on American soil. Cass described the scenario as an unfair, forced error of world historic proportions. The reported negotiations come as Trump prepares for a trip to China and seeks to cement his legacy as a deal-maker, even if that undermines the very trade agenda that he championed. While Trump's approach to China has frequently put him at odds with his own administration, his willingness to consider the investment stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of the relationship. Trump sees China as simply offering a bad deal and believes the remedy is negotiating a better one, Cass wrote. And he's proceeding despite concerns from his advisors in his administration. "I don't blame China," Trump notably told business leaders in Beijing in 2017. "After all, who can blame a country for being able to take advantage of another country for the benefit of its citizens?" According to this economist, this transactional worldview fails to account for the strategic reality that Chinese investment operates under fundamentally different rules than American capital flows. $1 trillion infusion of Chinese capital would exceed the total direct investment in the United States made by other countries since the Declaration of Independence, he wrote, before adding that even a fraction of that amount would devastate what remains of American economic defenses, weakening national security and supply chain resilience while handing the Chinese Communist Party a powerful tool to subvert US markets. Unlike American companies that pursue their own goals with relatively little political interference, Chinese companies operate at the pleasure of the Communist Party. When the party decides to dominate an industry, it can offer virtually unlimited financial support and access to a virtually unlimited labor pool. Welcoming that model to our shores would be a catastrophe for the United States. If Trump proceeds with the deal, he risks becoming the president who did more than anyone to warn about the dangers of the China relationship, only to embed that relationship in the US. So it makes perfect sense that this is becoming a massive concern, which is why even someone like Laura Ingraham is turning on Donald Trump right now. She actually shared this article with 2 exclamation points, attacking the idea that Trump is on the verge of making a historic error against the advice of his own aides. When Laura Ingraham is this vocal against her dear leader, you know the wheels are falling off. Now I'll talk more about Laura Ingraham later in this video, specifically why she's a total hack. But for a brief moment, I actually have to agree with her. I want to return to a point that I think is often undercovered, maybe even by me. When we talk about why Donald Trump makes these disastrous decisions, it's not just that he isn't smart in the traditional sense. It's that he has the attention span of a gnat. He has no interest in investigating a topic, growing, or actually learning. Successful leaders are curious thinkers. They want to be analytical. That is not Donald Trump. Trump is always hunting for the easiest, flashiest, and often stupidest solution. And frankly, that is his only real political talent, because in America, people often mistake the simple solution for the right one. Lately, conservatives have been calling themselves the party of common sense, but common sense isn't always that common. Think about it. If I told you I was going to drop a 1,000-ton block of metal into the ocean, you'd say, Liam, that thing is going to sink immediately. But massive ships exist and they float because of density and physics. Things are complicated. Real governance takes thought, analysis, and the willingness to realize that the surface level answer is usually wrong. But Donald Trump only lives on the surface. For him to say, China making a huge investment in our economy will be great is incredibly dangerous. It allows a foreign power to influence US markets with manufacturing plants they could shut down overnight if they decided to invade Taiwan or start a new Cold War. Hundreds of thousands of American jobs would be held hostage. This has been the Trump pattern for his entire career. He screams China, China, China to get votes, but his actual proposals are just shallow nonsense. The Strait of Hormuz is closed? Make Venezuela the 51st state. What? That makes zero sense. Manufacturing is struggling? Tariffs on everything. But then he forgets we have to import the materials to build things here, so we lose even more jobs. Donald Trump is a surface-level, intellectually lazy person. And that appeals to a specific voting bloc in America that doesn't want to think critically. I've said it before, the most influential voting bloc in this country is people who don't want to look past the slogans. It's how we got Trump. He plays on lack of information and he plays on racism. Mostly because he shares those traits. But Laura Ingraham saying, I don't like this, bad idea, is a serious warning shot. It shows Trump is losing his grip even within Fox News. Now don't get me wrong, Liam Prescott agreeing with Laura Ingraham? What a shocker. But as a person, I think she might have a slightly more developed worldview than the other hacks at Fox. Jesse Waters, for example, is just a caricature. He's a reactionary media figure who serves as pure state propaganda. Ingraham is too, but she's willing to be critical of Trump, unless he's doing something racist. Then she's all in. And that's exactly where I want to end today, because I can't agree with Laura Ingraham for too long without reminding you exactly who she is.
This party, Democrats, they say they care about democracy, right? Institutions matter to them. But the Democrats always show us that they are willing to burn it all down when they don't get their way. So it's fine to disagree strongly with the court's reasoning. I do often. That's one thing. But branding the court illegitimate and warning of a racial apocalypse because of this ruling is more than out of line. It's dangerous. From just the events of this past Saturday, we know the assassination culture on the left is alive and well. And it's not just President Trump in the crosshairs. Justice Kavanaugh's would-be killer showed up at his home. Amy Coney Barrett, she's been relentlessly harassed. This has got to stop. And only the Democrats can put an end to it. So stop lying about the court targeting blacks and minorities. Stop lying about Trump being a Nazi. Just stop. The sad truth is they'd rather continue this dangerous rhetoric than govern in a way that helps people, the people they claim to care.
This is the most absolute garbage I've heard from Laura Ingraham in a long time. And let's be honest, Laura Ingraham says a lot of nonsense on her show. I love this twisted idea that somehow only Democrats are responsible for ending the toxic rhetoric in this country. But in a weird way, Laura actually stumbled into the truth. She said it. Only Democrats can end it. And do you know how? By defeating Republicans. By taking complete control and power. In that sense, Laura Ingraham is actually right, just not in the way she thinks she is. She's not right that Democrats need to stop their rhetoric. It's not our fault. But she's right in the assessment that Democrats are the only adults in the room and the only people who are actually fit to govern, because Republicans have proven they are utterly incapable of it. Speaking of which, Donald Trump can't govern to save his life. The Supreme Court has had to shoot down what he calls the central policy of his term, tariffs, on multiple occasions. So yes, Laura, you're right that Donald Trump is incompetent. Republicans can't lead. Democrats are the only adults left. You're just dead wrong that we are the ones with the rhetoric problem. Donald Trump is out there constantly attacking the Supreme Court, calling them dummies and idiots whenever they don't do his bidding. He claims they're undermining America by rejecting his attempts to overturn birthright citizenship. By the way, birthright citizenship is a fundamental principle, not just for America, but for the entire Western world. These conservatives love to talk about the West, but they don't even understand its basic principles. There are about 24 countries in North and South America that have birthright citizenship. They don't get it, and that's Donald Trump's fault. Laura Ingraham, you're a total hack. Though I do find it hilarious when you turn on your own guy. We are going to continue to call out all of this hypocrisy on this show. If you want to support what we are doing here, as always, please hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. This one ran a little long, but I had some thoughts I needed to get off my chest. As always, if you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'm Liam Prescott, and I'll see you in the next one.